People are really concerned and wondering how this law is going to work because the cattle rearers, they don't have those cars, the trailers to carry their cattle. And you said that you don't want to see the hooves on the soil. So where then does this law address such concerns when you're talking about you want to ranch them? Has anyone come up with a proposal, for instance, that we must go the way of ranching? Yes, it's on paper, but is anyone taking proactive steps to try to see that we have those ranches in place?
Yes, we took the steps. And even for them to say that they were not carried along before this law was put in place, that is completely false. This bill came up as an executive bill which was passed to the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly followed due process and involved all the people of Benue by calling for meetings, for town hall meetings, to brief the people and for them to have the adequate input into this law. And that was done. It took over a year before this law was completed and signed into law. And all that was done, and the cattle rearers, were completely involved from beginning to the end. It is on record that His Excellency had several meetings with the Fulani groups in Benue State, in both Zone A, B, and C. And so to say they were not carried along, that is completely false. Now, this law was this law was signed by His Excellency in May of this year. And we gave everybody 6 months. Now, I must also say that this law, first of all, is not meant to witch hunt anybody. It's a law that pertains to everybody, both Benue indigenes and people who are not Benue indigenes, both Fulani and whoever who is involved, who is interested in livestock husbandry. What we are saying is simply ranch. If you have land to ranch, then you ranch. If you don't have, either you approach the local government chairman for them to give you land to ranch, or you approach the State Ministry of Lands and also the Ministry of Agriculture to collect permits to own these ranches. And to even make things easier for both the Fulani and the people of Benue State, the governor said, look, 50% of all our land charges across board, and this will continue to the end of 2018, so that people who want to obtain papers for lands, it will be cheaper and easier for them to make. We have made the process so easy. If you do not have land to ranch and you want to ranch, go and get the papers.
Does it make any sense to you that we have those on record that there are about 10 million cows in Benue State compared to the population of Benue State, put at an estimate of 4 million. How do you suppose that within this time frame that you have given, all those concerns and the movement of this cattle will be addressed without any clash? Because we're just going into the dry season now. I can imagine that there'll be a lot of movement, and that could pose some kind of security threat to the people of Benue State. Are you comfortable at this moment that when we get to that point where those cattle are moving from one place to the other as a result of the dry season, looking for grass to graze on, that there won't be any clash?
Well, this is exactly what the law is trying to prevent. We have been having clashes for the past 5 years. We have not had any end in sight. Before this administration came in, there were committees set up for both Zone A, B, and C to dialogue with these Fulani people for peace to reign. We inculcated dialogue, but at the end of the day, after all the dialogue, we saw that, look, they were simply not abiding to even the agreements that we had. And so the gentlemanly agreements had to go out of place, and we needed a law that could be enforced. And this is exactly what has come to play now. As it stands, saying that we have up to 10 million cows in Benue, honestly, I doubt that statistics. And secondly, if you have been given 6 months to organize a place to keep your cattle, I think that is more than adequate. And the law going to be enforced 1st of November was not a hidden fact at all. We said it, and we intended to do it. His Excellency, from times without number, called the traditional rulers, called the Fulani community, called the people involved, called stakeholders, and we talked about this time and time again. People who were interested have started doing their ranches. If you go to places like Gwe East, Gwe West, even down to Agatu, there are indigenous people who have started doing their ranches. So why should the Fulani people now come and say, look, we are not providing the ranches for you after we gave adequate time for it to be done?
But can you confirm
honestly,
to us?
I don't think there are excuses in this
my
thing.
apologies. Yeah. Can you confirm to us, because we got the report that right now government officials are chasing the herdsmen out of Benue State. Is that true?
That is completely and utterly false. There is no such thing. Just 2 days ago, even the local government chairman of Otukpo and some other local government chairmen had meetings with the Fulanis who are in their localities, and those indigenous Fulanis agreed to ranch their cattle. It is those who are saying, look, we don't agree with ranching, who are leaving. Nobody is forcing anybody to leave Benue State. And we have said the law is the law, and we must respect the law of the land. The law of the land today says, look, everybody must ranch, whether you're a Benue indigene or not. It's as simple as that. If you do not want to ranch and anybody wants to leave, nobody is chasing anybody. We will say good riddance. But for the Fulanis who have sat back in Benue and said, look, we will obey this law, we are more than happy to live with them. Fulanis have lived with us for a very long time. There are those who have lived with us, we call them indigenous because they have lived with us for a long time. Those who come, and it's mostly because of climate change and all that we see this increase in these last few years, where they are looking for greener pastures and waters to feed and also to water their flock. So as it stands today, it's very simple. We do not want cattle roaming around in Benue, even if it is a Benue indigene whose chicken goes into somebody's farm.
Mr. Lawrence Onoja, if you just permit me, I'll let you continue with your line of thoughts just shortly when we return, and we'll pick it up from the point where what your government is doing to try to mend fences and how much of occupation is currently going on in Benue State and for the people of your state. Join us again.